Hi everybody, welcome to another CYTLive show. My name is Stephen Aitchison, creator of PositiveLifeAffirmations.net, a program to help you change your beliefs to change your life. Today I want to talk about pursuing your dreams. What does that mean? Why would you want to do it? Why would you not do it? And I want to show you a video as well. I'm not going to share with you what the video is. A lot of you will probably have seen it already, and it's from a great person I admire so much. For his tenacity, for his kind of focus, for his way of thinking and everything else. Not possibly for the man he was and the way he treated other people, but just for his pure determination and focus. I love this guy for this. So that's what I want to share with you today, the video for that. So today we're going to be talking about pursuing your dreams, about what holds us back from pursuing our dreams. And a lot of us can have excuses for not pursuing our dreams, and I think this is a huge mistake. When you think about the amount of time you've got on this earth, possibly 70 to 110 years, I don't know, it's some even shorter for some people as well. We never know, is the truth. We never know how long we've got on this earth, so why would you not pursue your dreams? That kind of really is the question. Why would you not pursue your dreams? And there's a lot of kind of reasons a lot of people don't pursue their dreams in kind of the personal side and in the business side and kind of any other side, just in all areas of their life. And one of the reasons that a lot of people don't pursue their dreams is they don't think they're good enough. And I find that strange to kind of understand, because nobody is good enough at anything when they first start. So if you want to be good enough at something, if you want to be good enough with writing, you practice the art of writing. If you want to be good enough with being a counsellor, you practice counselling. You go to college, you go to university, and you become a counsellor, and that you practice being a counsellor and learning the skill of being a counsellor as well. So if you're not good enough on computers, what do? You just practice on the computer. Learn from Mr. Google and just learn everything that you can from Mr. Google. If you have a question about anything, type in the question to Google and it's going to definitely come up with kind of any answers. Any question you want answered is going to be answered in Google. So that is the way I've learned. That's the way I've never had any formal training in computing or building websites or copywriting or kind of doing anything. Everything I've done online and will continue to do, I've taught myself to do, because I recognise I'm not good enough at it, but I know I've got the skills to become good enough at it. And I think a lot of people use that excuse, I'm not good enough. And you are good enough. You learn to be good enough. You learn to be great at something as well. A lot of people also use the kind of excuse, you don't have time. Again, if we're being really honest here, and I mean truly honest, where do you spend a lot of your time? And when I've done coaching, and a lot of people say, oh, I've not got time to do that. I don't have time to kind of sit and learn how to kind of build a website or copywriting or do something. I'm saying, okay, let me know what your time, where you're spending your time during the day. And most people will say, well, I spend maybe 2 hours, 3 hours watching TV. I spend 2 hours kind of doing kind of other stuff that they don't really need to do. And if you cut out that time that you spend on watching TV, if you cut out that time that you spend just kind of lazing about, then you could use that time productively to learn what the skills that you need to learn to do something, or to do something in your business, to do something in your personal life. For example, health. A lot of people say, oh, I don't have time to go to the gym. And I've said that as well. Oh, I've just not got time. It's really busy in the business just now. But if I'm being honest, it's a lot of crap, because I do have time. What I'm really saying is I've not made going to the gym a high priority. That's essentially what I'm saying. And that's essentially what other people are saying as well. They've not made something high enough priority to make time to do it. So, for example, if I was to say to you, okay, you want to build a business, for example, and a lot of people say, I don't have time to do that. But if I said to you, I can guarantee you, absolute guarantee, without any question, that you're going to be making $10,000 per month if you make time 2 hours every day to do this, or 3 hours every day to do this, I'm pretty damn sure that you would make the time to do that. So it's not about making the time, it's about prioritizing your time. And that's the reason that people say they don't have time, but they do. It's just they don't prioritize that time as well. So that's another excuse we have for not pursuing our dreams. Another one is, I don't have the talent to do that. Nobody has. Nobody's got the talent to do anything when they're born. They may have an aptitude for something. If it's playing the piano or something, you might say, well, I've not got the talent to play the piano. Nobody's got a talent to play the piano. People are born with an aptitude, possibly, to play the piano. It's just a way of thinking about kind of musical notes and things like that as well. But you could learn to play the piano if you truly wanted to learn, and that's an example, obviously, as well. I don't have the skills to play the piano. I've got piano in the background. I've never actually sat down and taught myself to kind of play it yet, but it's something I've always wanted to do. I've just not got the time to do it because I've not prioritised the time to do it. I've got other priorities in my life. But you do have the talent. Talent comes with practice. Talent comes with practicing your skill day in, day out, and showing up every single day as well. So that's another excuse that we use for not pursuing our dreams. And another one is I'm going to put usually is I'll do that after I get something else. So I'll go to university after the kids are grown up. So you want to see to the kids first and then go to university, which is not, you might think, well, that's a good thing because I'm not being selfish. I want to look after my kids. But what you've got to understand in that kind of scenario as well, and it's something I've done, it's something my wife Sharon has done as well. We teach our kids by example, so they're learning from us. So if you put your life on hold to spend more time with your kids and do something and stuff like that, they're not learning everything they could be from you. So they're not learning about the power of pursuing their dreams if you're putting your life on hold to look after your kids. So my wife Sharon, for example, when she was 34, I think about, when did we get married? We got married, it was about, she was 35 or 36. She wanted to do a social work degree because she was working in the voluntary sector and she was a care worker in kind of women's aid. So she said, we made an agreement that I would work for 3 or 4 years while she went to university. And she did. She got a degree in social work and then she got a master's degree, and she even thought about doing a PhD in social work as well. But she didn't do that, and it's something that might come. But what the boys learned, our 2 sons, what they learned is it's important to pursue your dreams by watching Sharon and by watching me as well, doing what I do, pursuing my dreams with an online business. And when Sharon came out of university, we made an agreement that I would pursue my dreams of doing an online business and she would go back to work doing something that she loves, and has been working ever since. So your kids are constantly learning. So never kind of put your dreams on hold because you've got kids or because you've got other perceived priorities as well. Another reason a lot of people don't start to pursue their dreams is they ask the question, what if I fail? Now, that is a good question to ask, what if I fail? So really what you're doing is you're preparing your mind for something that may or may not happen in the future. But conversely, you have to ask the question, what if I succeed? What would be the best thing that could happen if I succeeded in pursuing my dreams? Instead of just asking the question, what if I fail? Because if that's the only question that you ask, then you're probably not going to go for your dreams. You're probably not going to go for it. You think of all the bad things that could happen, but you never conversely think about the good things that could happen as well. And that's some of you. I'd love to talk about them more, but I want to show you this video as well. I'm just going to see some comments as well. Oh, somebody's saying the videos are stuck. It might be stuck, hopefully not. If you just kind of hit on the refresh page, and hopefully you'll get back to it. I'll just carry on just now, but I want to show you this video from Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is kind of a hero of mine. I've read his book, or the biography from Walter Isaacson, and it's a brilliant book. If you've not read Walter Isaacson's book on Steve Jobs, you definitely have to read it. Steve Jobs wasn't a people person. That is very clear. And he didn't treat his staff well. That is very clear as well. But what I love about the man, what I kind of adore about the man, was his focus, was his attention, was his determination, was his drive, his enthusiasm, his passion as well. Everything that all shone from him very, very brightly. Whatever else you think about Steve Jobs, about being a people person, that doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter. It's just about his vision of a better future. And that's what I love about Steve Jobs. And I want to show you the video from Stanford University. It's his commencement video. And I just think the man is a genius. I think he's a true genius. over time, and it's sad that he's kind of passed as well. But I wanted to show you this video about kind of pursuing your dreams as well. So hopefully you'll let me share that with you just now, and then I'll come back to you after showing you the video.
This program is brought to you by Stanford University. Please visit us at stanford.edu.
Thank you. I'm honored to be with you today for your commencement from one of the finest universities in the world. Truth be told, I never graduated from college, and this is the closest I've ever gotten to a college graduation. Today, I want to tell you 3 stories from my life. That's it. No big deal. Just 3 stories. The first story is about connecting the dots. I dropped out of Reed College after the first 6 months, but then stayed around as a drop-in for another 18 months or so before I really quit. So why'd I drop out? It started before I was born. My biological mother was a young, unwed graduate student, and she decided to put me up for adoption. She felt very strongly that I should be adopted by college graduates, so everything was all set for me to be adopted at birth by a lawyer and his wife. Except that when I popped out, they decided at the last minute that they really wanted a girl. So my parents, who were on a waiting list, got a call in the middle of the night asking, "We've got an unexpected baby boy. Do you want him?" They said, "Of course." My biological mother found out later that my mother had never graduated from college and that my father had never graduated from high school. She refused to sign the final adoption papers. She only relented a few months later when my parents promised that I would go to college. This was the start in my life. And 17 years later, I did go to college. But I naively chose a college that was almost as expensive as Stanford. And all of my working class parents' savings were being spent on my college tuition. After 6 months, I couldn't see the value in it. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life, and no idea how college was going to help me figure it out. And here I was, spending all of the money my parents had saved their entire life. So I decided to drop out and trust that it would all work out okay. It was pretty scary at the time, but looking back, it was one of the best decisions I ever made. The minute I dropped out, I could stop taking the required classes that didn't interest me and begin dropping in on the ones that looked far more interesting. It wasn't all romantic. I didn't have a dorm room, so I slept on the floor in friends' rooms. I returned Coke bottles for the 5-cent deposits to buy food with. And I would walk the 7 miles across town every Sunday night to get one good meal a week at the Hare Krishna temple. I loved it. And much of what I stumbled into by following my curiosity and intuition turned out to be priceless later on. Let me give you one example. Reed College at that time offered perhaps the best calligraphy instruction in the country. Throughout the campus, every poster, every label on every drawer was beautifully hand calligraphed. Because I had dropped out and didn't have to take the normal classes, I decided to take a calligraphy class to learn how to do this. I learned about serif and sans serif typefaces, about varying the amount of space between different letter combinations, about what makes great typography great. It was beautiful, historical, artistically subtle in a way that science can't capture, and I found it fascinating. None of this had even a hope of any practical application in my life. But 10 years later, when we were designing the first Macintosh computer, it all came back to me. And we designed it all into the Mac. It was the first computer with beautiful typography. If I had never dropped in on that single course in college, the Mac would have never had multiple typefaces or proportionally spaced fonts. And since Windows just copied the Mac, it's likely that no personal computer would have them. If I had never dropped out, I would have never dropped in on that calligraphy class, and personal computers might not have the wonderful typography that they do. Of course, it was impossible to connect the dots looking forward when I was in college, but it was very, very clear looking backwards 10 years later. Again, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. Because believing that the dots will connect down the road will give you the confidence to follow your heart even when it leads you off the well-worn path, and that will make all the difference. My second story is about love and loss. I was lucky. I found what I loved to do early in life. Woz and I started Apple in my parents' garage when I was 20. We worked hard, and in 10 years, Apple had grown from just the two of us in a garage into a $2 billion company with over 4,000 employees. We just released our finest creation, the Macintosh, a year earlier, and I just turned 30. And then I got fired. How can you get fired from a company you started? Well, as Apple grew, we hired someone who I thought was very talented to run the company with me. And for the first year or so, things went well. But then our visions of the future began to diverge, and eventually we had a falling out. When we did, our board of directors sided with him. And so at 30, I was out, and very publicly out. What had been the focus of my entire adult life was gone, and it was devastating. I really didn't know what to do for a few months. I felt that I had let the previous generation of entrepreneurs down, that I had dropped the baton as it was being passed to me. I met with David Packard and Bob Noyce and tried to apologize for screwing up so badly. I was a very public failure, and I even thought about running away from the valley. But something slowly began to dawn on me. I still loved what I did. The turn of events at Apple had not changed that one bit. I'd been rejected, but I was still in love. And so I decided to start over. I didn't see it then, but it turned out that getting fired from Apple was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. The heaviness of being successful was replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again, less sure about everything. It freed me to enter one of the most creative periods of my life. During the next 5 years, I started a company named Next, another company named Pixar, and fell in love with an amazing woman who would become my wife. Pixar went on to create the world's first computer animated feature film, Toy Story, and is now the most successful animation studio in the world. In a remarkable turn of events, Apple bought Next, and I returned to Apple, and the technology we developed at Next is at the heart of Apple's current renaissance. And Lorene and I have a wonderful family together. I'm pretty sure none of this would have happened if I hadn't been fired from Apple. It was awful tasting medicine, but I guess the patient needed it. Sometimes life's going to hit you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith. I'm convinced that the only thing that kept me going was that I loved what I did. You've got to find what you love. And that is as true for work as it is for your lovers. Your work is going to fill a large part of your life. And the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking and don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, you'll know when you find it. And like any great relationship, it just gets better and better as the years roll on. So keep looking. Don't settle. My third story is about death. When I was 17, I read a quote that went something like, "If you live each day as if it was your last, someday you'll most certainly be right." It made an impression on me, and since then, for the past 33 years, I have looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today? And whenever the answer has been no for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something. Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life. Because almost everything all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important. Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. You are already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart. About a year ago, I was diagnosed with cancer. I had a scan at 7:30 in the morning, and it clearly showed a tumor on my pancreas. I didn't even know what a pancreas was. The doctors told me this was almost certainly a type of cancer that is incurable, and that I should expect to live no longer than 3 to 6 months. My doctor advised me to go home and get my affairs in order, which is doctor's code for prepare to die. It means to try and tell your kids everything you thought you'd have the next 10 years to tell them in just a few months. It means to make sure everything is buttoned up so that it will be as easy as possible for your family. It means to say your goodbyes. I lived with that diagnosis all day. Later that evening, I had a biopsy where they stuck an endoscope down my throat, through my stomach and into my intestines, put a needle into my pancreas and got a few cells from the tumor. I was sedated, but my wife, who was there, told me that when they viewed the cells under a microscope, the doctors started crying because it turned out to be a very rare form of pancreatic cancer that is curable with surgery. I had the surgery, and thankfully, I'm fine now. This was the closest I've been to facing death, and I hope it's the closest I get for a few more decades. Having lived through it, I can now say this to you with a bit more certainty than when death was a useful but purely intellectual concept. No one wants to die. Even people who want to go to heaven don't want to die to get there. And yet, death is the destination we all share. No one has ever escaped it. And that is as it should be, because death is very likely the single best invention of life. It's life's change agent. It clears out the old to make way for the new. Right now, the new is you. But someday, not too long from now, you will gradually become the old and be cleared away. Sorry to be so dramatic, but it's quite true. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. When I was young, there was an amazing publication called the Whole Earth Catalog, which was one of the Bibles of my generation. It was created by a fellow named Stuart Brand, not far from here in Menlo Park, and he brought it to life with his poetic touch. This was in the late 60s, before personal computers and desktop publishing, so it was all made with typewriters, scissors, and Polaroid cameras. It was sort of like Google in paperback form 35 years before Google came along. It was idealistic, overflowing with neat tools and great notions. Stuart and his team put out several issues of the Whole Earth Catalog, and then, when it had run its course, they put out a final issue. It was the mid-1970s, and I was your age. On the back cover of their final issue was a photograph of an early morning country road, the kind you might find yourself hitchhiking on if you were so adventurous. Beneath it were the words, "Stay hungry, stay foolish." It was their farewell message as they signed off. Stay hungry, stay foolish. And I have always wished that for myself. And now, as you graduate to begin anew, I wish that for you. Stay hungry, stay foolish. Thank you all very much.
The preceding program is copyrighted by Stanford University. Please visit us at Stanford.
Sorry, there was a wee bit technical difficulties there. I hope everybody got to see the video in full there. I know there's a few technical issues, but that still gets me. I've seen that I don't know how many times now, and that video still gets me kind of every time. And it's just a powerful, powerful message to have. And to think, and one of the things that I always kind of get from this, Sean Barrett had kind of left a quote from that as well about connecting the dots. But one of the things he says, you have to trust that the dots are going to connect in the future. Because we can't connect the dots in the future, we can only connect the dots from the past. But you have to trust in yourself enough to believe that the dots are going to connect in the future. And I just think that's a really, really powerful statement. You have to trust yourself enough to pursue your dreams that the dots will connect in the future. And it's something I can always say as well, that if you jump into the abyss, i.e. if you pursue your dreams, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. But if you jump into the abyss and take the risk, what you'll find is usually a net appears to catch you. And I think that's why we should all pursue our dreams. Everybody should pursue our dreams. And it's what myself and Maria Flynn were talking about the other day on our live training, about pursuing your dreams, about pursuing your passion and making a profit from that passion as well. Not just a profit, but connecting with other people. When you connect with other people, when you share your knowledge with other people as well, then that's when you're affecting the world. That's when you're going out and changing the world in some small way. When you change one person's life, you potentially change 10 people's life. And then you potentially change another 100 people's life. Because every life that you change, every life that you connect with, have got another 10 people that they're going to change. And they've got another 10 people. So if you manage to change one person's life in your life, then you could potentially change the world if you think about it that way. And that's why I'm so passionate about my business. That's why I'm so passionate about doing these live shows. And it's quite emotional actually. It's quite, when you kind of watch that video again, it's quite emotional. But yeah, that's why I'm so passionate about kind of doing my business and touching other people's lives as well. That kind of video gets me every time. So what I'm going to say to you is pursue your dreams, pursue your passions, and trust that the dots are going to connect in the future for you as well. And I put a link down below for the live training that myself and Maria Flynn did as well on Wednesday night. And if you're at all interested in starting up your own business and connecting with people and changing the world one person at a time, then I think you're going to love that training as well. But I hope you enjoyed the talk today. I hope you enjoyed the show today. I think it was a really powerful video. I think it was a powerful message as well about pursuing your dreams. And hopefully you've got a few aha moments from that as well. I know when I first watched it, I kind of got a few aha moments for myself. And it just opened up so many doors. And it's taught me, or Steve Jobs has taught me to pursue my passion with vigour, with enthusiasm, with passion, with drive and focus as well. No matter where you are, as you've seen Steve Jobs, he was sacked at the age of 30 from Apple, but he came right back and he turned the whole company around, and literally I'd say changed the world in some way as well. So pursue your passion, pursue your dreams, and pursue what you want to do in life, and don't make excuses for it. So until Monday, have a brilliant weekend whatever you're doing, and I'll see you again soon. Namaste. Take care. Bye now.